Well, we've been talking about it. It's big news. The Sundance Film Festival leaving Utah and the impact that will be felt all across the state, specifically those in and around Park City.
Well, we have State Senator John Johnson joining us this morning. You represent the Park City area. So I guess, Senator Johnson, what was your first reaction when news came down that Sundance is going to be leaving Park City?
You know, as a state senator serving half of Summit County, which includes Park City, I really want to begin by saying this moment is bittersweet for us, right? For over 40 years, Sundance and Park City have grown together. We've welcomed storytellers from every corner of the world and together built something I think that was truly iconic. That said, the Sundance Institute has made a decision to relocate the festival. So, while we are naturally disappointed, we're going to look for other ways. They said the decision was based on logistical concerns, the venue limitations, housing shortages, and the need for long-term growth. So, and they've stated that this wasn't a political thing. So, we know that Park City really remains a world-class cultural destination, and I think we're already focused on what's next. I know the governor has talked about this. There was a tweet last night I saw from Ryan Smith that talked about, setting up an alternative world-class film destination. So we'll see what happens with that.
And Colorado is projecting that this move could boost its economy by more than $2 billion over 10 years. So what kind of an impact would the move have here in Utah in terms of things like jobs and tourism?
Well, I've heard that it represents about $120 million to the state of Utah, which is a big deal, right? But that doesn't mean, with them leaving, that leaves space for somebody else to come in. And so, I'm looking forward to solutions maybe that creative people in the state of Utah are going to come up with.
Well, I know there were efforts going on for months now once they heard that Sundance might move. Were you involved in any of that with the efforts that Park City and Utah put on to try to keep it here?
No, I wasn't involved in those efforts. I know there was some legislation and there were some allocations this year that went to try to subsidize some of that. I'm not, I'm probably not the best one to ask about, incentives and things like that, because I think we have other things to spend our money on, education being my top priority.
So how surprised were you, though, that Sundance decided to leave?
I was surprised, given the 40-year relationship. I didn't, but I can also see, them talking about the foot traffic and the kinds of venues they had. And I know the governor's office was working with them in terms of, finding a pairing maybe with Salt Lake City and other things to make it more convenient. But the bottom line is they've decided that perhaps they've grown out of Utah. They've been here, they've been here 40 years, and that's been a really great run. And I think there's opportunities for other, even in film, just as Ryan Smith tweeted out. I hope they come up with a solution like that.
And you mentioned bittersweet. What has Sundance meant to you and your community?
Well, my wife and I have tried to attend the events. I must say there are a number of the films that are shown that we don't feel like we could attend, but I think there's been some great things, and even independent filmmakers in Utah. I mean, one that comes to mind to me is Napoleon Dynamite, which became a overnight success, really. And so I think there's a lot of opportunities. There's a lot of creative people in Utah. You look at the things that Angel Studios has been doing. I think there are a lot of other opportunities that will be able to fill that void.
Okay, so do you have plans to go to Boulder in 2027?
No.
No. Have you ever been to Boulder? I mean, it's a cute little town.
Yes, it's a very unique place. I actually prefer Colorado Springs. I mean, it's more to my liking, but Boulder's a fine place. But quite frankly, I think it lacks the charm of Park City. I think there's a certain charm to Park City that I think the Sundance people are going to miss.
Yeah, especially this past year when you closed off Main Street, so people
Yeah.
could wander around a little bit more and see all the cool things.
Right.
Well, and I think that is a kind of a response to this idea of there not being a real nice foot traffic area. But you know, there are lots of other things that we look forward to in Park City. I would say, you know, the Olympics being one of them, that I think you know, brings a worldwide focus on the state of Utah. You know, but I know there's a lot of creative people in the state of Utah, and I have a feeling there's going to be some really great things coming forward.
Yeah, definitely a lot to look forward to. And, you know, before we let you go, we want to ask, do you have a favorite movie from Sundance over the years?
Well, I guess I mentioned Napoleon Dynamite, but that one kind of rings to me because it also kind of illustrates some of the quirkiness of our culture, right? And I think there's lots that can be done, and there might actually be a possibility for something that maybe is more inclusive of the whole population of the state of Utah and our unique characteristics.
Nice way to put it. Okay. Senator John Johnson, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you. I
Thank you.
appreciate it.